In this episode, we're going to explore the real reason why entrepreneurs often burn out after having kids. We're going to explore a beautiful quote by Thich Nhat Hanh in his book, True Love, and talk about how you can potentially break the cycle of potentially your parents not being there for you and finally be the parent you want to be while still holding up all of the business success that you're wanting for yourself. There's a book called True Love by Thich Nhat Hanh. And many of these passages I actually included in our marriage vows. And there's a quote, he says, "Do you have time to love?" And before we get into the whole issue with burnout, with your business and having kids, let's come around the back door first. So in this book, I'm going to read a passage to you. And he says, "Do you have time to love? I know a boy of 12 whose father asked him one day, 'Son, what would you like for your birthday present?' The boy did not know how to answer his father, who was a very rich man, able to buy anything for his son. But the boy did not want anything except his father's presence, because the role the father played kept him very busy. He did not have time to devote to his wife and children. Being rich is an obstacle to loving. When you are rich, you want to continue to be rich, and so you end up devoting all your time, all your energy in your daily life to staying rich. If this father were to understand what true love is, he would do whatever is necessary to find time for his son. The most precious gift you can give to the one you love is your true presence. What must we do to really be there?" I believe this story, is an often told one where the children don't want a toy. They just want you in the backyard kicking the ball. The infant can't express itself when it's crying, but it probably would love mommy or love daddy to be there. There is a difference between when people are loving and taking care of our children, and I'm a mother of a 3 and a 4-year-old, when, grandparents or aunts and uncles are taking care, or at the daycare, or a nanny or a babysitter. People can pour love into our children in different ways. But I believe, of course, at that innate level, the child is looking for our eyes. The child's looking for mommy. The child is looking for daddy. And so when a child comes into our world, it's such a cataclysmic change because not only do we have a person in our house, but we have to rearrange not just our external life, but our inner life. Most people try to change the external, like let me set up a daycare. Okay, let me set up who's going to organize taking care of the child at what time. We very much look outside of ourselves like it's a project. It's a business now. Like this child needs to be executed on and be productive with this child and all regimented. But that actually, without changing our inner life, our perspective, our beliefs, our stories, getting in touch with those deep fears we might have about parenting, maybe traumas that we've had related to how our parents maybe were there for us or weren't there, this is going to kick all that stuff up. And I often tell people, imagine if you got married but acted single. What would happen with your marriage? You got married, but you acted single. You would work, then you just go out with friends, you go to happy hours, you would go do all your things by yourself, you would do whatever you wanted, and you forgot that there was someone at home. Well, with the child, oftentimes we burn out because we're trying to maintain our old life and include all of this newness in it. I see this constantly. I have so many people that actually just come to me for coaching because of the change with business and then parenting. Because I know you want to grow your business success, you want to make more money, you want to be able to manage and joyfully do your business life and run something that you're so passionate about and gives you purpose and meaning, because I know you, if you're listening, your work, your genius, like your flow states, your feeling in business, that aliveness, it is part of who you are. It is so essential to your well-being and your happiness. We absolutely want that to be there. And we want you to shift and pivot inside to imagine, okay, how do I do that and parent? Like, how do I want to parent? How do I want to be there for my child? As Thich Nhat Hanh said, do you have time to love? And I say this first very briefly, that I don't say any of this to blame or shame or judge any of us. A long time ago, I heard the quote that everyone's doing the best they can. Everyone is doing the best they can because that is what they're doing. So even if they're not doing a good job, that's the best they can because that's the state of mind that they're in. That is a story that they're telling themselves. They truly have convinced themselves that that's good enough. So they are doing the best that they can. And when the child comes in, we are really called to go inside ourselves and have those awakenings, those shifts in perspectives. It could even be a spiritual crisis to think, oh my gosh, I am totally different than I was yesterday. And so for a lot of people, to imagine changing their life and being there much more, giving their time much more to their children, they have fears about their finances, keeping finances steady, or work is super high pace and fast and you've got a ton on your plate. Like, what do I do? I mean, how do I change that? Will my success fall or will my opportunities dry up? And it's a blind spot for people. It's very hard to see out of our own situation. And that's why coaching or therapy or different modalities to help us pull out of our own minds is going to help us answer the question of how do I not burn out, but actually thrive with my children? How do I thrive in business and have my kids and have a whole life of success? Have a whole life on my terms. Your life on your terms will look different written down than when you were single, when you didn't have children, when, and fill in the blank. Your life is evolving and it's growing. I had a really interesting intro call with a new father, super high performing, driven, successful, all this stuff on paper. And we talked about how he's reducing his travel and actually sending his team members in his place. He said, that was a shift. I like to be everywhere. I like to be in control. I like to show face with potential clients. I feel, I'm the best at what I'm about to do. But he sent his team instead, and he kind of learned that quick lesson that, wow, actually my team can do it. They're capable. And we'll send them off. And he's more homebound. And he also told me he does the mornings with his new baby from 5 to 8 a.m. And he said, yeah, that was pretty crazy to shift because, I would wake up at 5 and then go to the gym early and do my meditation and do my kind of morning routine before I would start working. And he said, it's a transition. The baby is challenging so many aspects of my habits, my beliefs, my everything. And he said, it feels like every day I have to be on top of another change and another shift, and figuring out how to continue grow his business and his success, but do it on his terms. Like Thich Nhat Hanh said, do you have time to love? This father is so brand new, off the deep end. Seriously, I'm making it sound easy, but he was struggling. He was getting vertigo a lot. He was losing his sleep. He was losing focus. He felt like he was in the abyss. But he kept saying, I want to have time to love. I want to be present for my wife, who just became a mother, and the baby. And maybe if I'm home more, actually, I can choose them and the business. So I love that. And I hope he's listening because I'm giving him a big hug. So it's not to say that people without kids can't do this. I know a lot of entrepreneurs do burn out, and there's different reasons why we can burn out, where we're burning the midnight oil. Burning out means we're burning out our kidneys. Our kidneys are our life force energy, and they actually are a winter organ in Chinese medicine. Our kidneys are for a season of rest. They are for a season of, when they're resting, they are filled up. Kidneys need quiet and solitude, relaxation in order to fill with their life force. And so burnout means your life force is going away. And also on another symbolic level, we're giving our life force away, but we're not getting replenished back. So we're giving everything out as entrepreneurs, everything out as parents, everything's on our eyes are on the external. We're leaking our energy without ever replenishing our own energy. That's a different episode about how to replenish our energy as entrepreneurs and parents. But I think the big simple one is that if you're feeling like you're burning out, or you're not have time to love the way that you want, or you don't have the presence for your children the way that you're wanting, that's a beautiful place to say, okay, that's my next lesson. This is my next lesson. This is my next spiritual growth moment. Okay, roll up my sleeves, let's go. And so I want to remind you too that you get to have kids. Not everyone has kids. Some people want kids and can't have them. There's so many things going on in this arena, but you know what? You get to be with your kids. You get to love them. You get to develop them and snuggle them. This is a privilege. It is an absolute privilege to be a parent. So please hold on to your kids. Please steal hours from your business and give them to your kids. Cut your expenses. Move to reduce your living costs. Live in a smaller house in a nice neighborhood. Be a spendthrift about how you vacation. Don't make money to hold up a lifestyle to give your kids everything except the one thing that they demand, which is you. So take a deep breath. You're doing a phenomenal job. If you're listening to this podcast, then I know you're already doing the work. You're already thinking about this, and you're already wanting to do it at your best. And you are thinking, wow, if I'm going to have life on my terms, which means business success and kids and just parenting and not having any regrets in my life that I wasn't there for them or I didn't give them the time that I wanted to, which is a huge regret for people. You're thinking like, hold on, let me get in front of this. And I don't care if your child's not born yet, if they're an infant, if they're 10 years old, you always have time to pivot yourself. It will be an interchange first, but ultimately giving your time to your kids is the greatest gift that you can give them. Please take a moment to pause from this episode. Think about how you can do just one thing to give your child that love and presence that they're craving, and one change in how you work and in your business to give you some of that time back so that you could pour it into your beautiful kids. Thank you, and see you on the next one. A big thank you for listening to this episode. I truly hope you got what you needed. If you want to get more from me each week, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any episodes or bonus content. To be notified of new episodes, workshop opportunities, and more, subscribe to my email list by heading to the link in this episode description. I'm wishing you joy, happiness, and love.